So today, I'm going to be talking about the African culture. I'm going to be talking about how the African culture is different from American culture, as far as cultural values and other stuff. Um, when we look at the African culture, they're more of a oriented society. They focus more on group success, humanity within the people. For example, they like to make sure they work together as a group to get resources. Um, they have a very good religious structure. The only thing different with African culture than American culture is, I'd say, the government. They have a more demanding government, I'd say. Um, their government, as far as power goes, is more, they have less freedom than us, if that makes sense. And some of their decisions aren't looked at rather than America, while we have freedom of speech. Um, so those are some of the things that I wanted to get into in the speech. Um, but first, some of the cultural values that I would like to explain are high versus low context, individualism versus collectivism, um, high versus low power distance, competitive and cooperative, some stuff like that. So I'm going to be getting into that and how the African culture has each of these cultural values. So first, I'm going to start with high versus low context. I'd say that they have a high context because they're more human oriented and their value is placed on family more than America. They have a really good, belief in, well, I wouldn't say belief, or they value their family very much. And I'm not saying America doesn't either, but when you look at the African culture, it seems like they really focus on family structure. Um, their meaning comes from environment and relationships oppressed within the communication process. Um, the family tribe establishes guidelines for what is acceptable behavior. So that means, you have certain guidelines within the family that you can't break. They're very strict on certain things, to stay protected, and so their family can be protected. When we talk about individualism versus collectivism, I'd say it's collectivism, mainly because, one, like I said before, they always work as a group. Um, they invite members to the tribe to become more powerful as a group, meaning they bring other members within the community to join their tribe so they can be a stronger tribe and stronger as a group to succeed more. Um, they grow food and serve it to the public. So this is great, as in, working as a together and working as a group, because they're growing food and they're serving it to the people. They're not serving it for themselves, they're serving it to the people. And the music brings the community together, so that's another thing. They have a very, unique music culture. Um, they love music. They all come together when music is playing. They believe in music helps them get through the day and other stuff like that. Another cultural value we're going to be discussing is competitive and cooperative. And this is an obvious answer. I'd say cooperative. Africa really isn't competitive when it comes to resources and other things. They don't like to be better than one another or, take everything from another person. They like to work together, which is one of the main things in African culture. They like to work together. So they're not really a competitive culture. They're more cooperative. They work together to succeed. They work together to build tribes. They work together to get food. They're always working together. So this is another thing. But to sum everything up, African culture is basically a culture that works together. And I know I said this many times, but based on what I've been researching and comparing their facts to the cultural values, it's obvious that they like to work together. So African culture is different than America. America, we're not as cooperative as an African culture. We're more competitive, but Africa, that's a different story.